Welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 1. We're going to start the year by reviewing how to simplify a fraction. So find the greatest common divisor, also known as greatest common factor, of each of these pairs of numbers, please. So the largest number that divides into both 8 and 10 is 2. 2 is the greatest common factor. Now, if you did this, 10, 20, 30, those are called multiples. Those are not factors. Factors are all the numbers that multiply, right? So the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8, because 1 times 2, 8 is 8, and 2 times 4 is 8. The factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. The biggest number on both lists is 2. All right, so how I want you to show your work is I don't want you to write all those lists. I want you to do those lists in your head and say, well, 8 divided by 2 is 4, because it says then divide both numbers. The answer is 2, but then we're going to do the actual division. And I'll have a reason for that in the lesson. Okay, so the next one, 16 and 12. 2 is a factor, but it's not the greatest common factor or greatest common divisor. The largest number that divides into both of these is 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And one of the reasons I have you do the division is that notice there we get a 4 and a 3. You can't find a greater common factor than 1 for 4 and 3. But say, for instance, if you had 16 and 12 and you pick 2, a common factor but not the greatest one, right? You would get 8 and 6 here. Well, 8 and 6, you can go again. And if you can go again, that means you didn't get the greatest common divisor. Okay, so for 35 and 5, hopefully this one's sort of easy, because, right, the 5 times, if numbers end in 0 and 5, they're definitely divisible by 5. And this one has 35 divided by 5 is 7, 30 divided by 5 is 6. The greatest common divisor was 5. Now we're going to simplify a fraction today. Now, if you've done this work the way I've shown it on here, you've basically already simplified a fraction. Because if you have to simplify the fraction 8/10, it simplifies to 4/5. If you simplify the fraction 16/12, it simplifies to 4/3. Now you might feel like you have to make this 1 1/3, but you do not. That's called making it a mixed number. 4/3 is a perfectly good answer. It is simplified. And if you simplify 35/30, it simplifies to 7/6. So we already, if you could do this work the way I've just shown it, you already can simplify a fraction. So there's 5 fractions there: 50 hundredths, 10 20ths, 5 tenths, 2 fourths, and 1/2. Which one's the biggest? Well, hopefully you're saying, Mr. Ben, that's a trick question, because all of these simplify to 1/2. They're all equal to 1/2. Right? 50 hundredths divide top and bottom by 50 simplifies to 1/2. 10 20ths divide top and bottom by 10 simplifies to 1/2. And so on. They are all equal amounts. So we're going to make sure we all can say a fraction. How would you say that? Well, you say that as 1/2, right? We are not going to say it as 1/2. We're going to say 1/2. How would you say this? You would say it as 2/3. You say that, so you say the top, the numerator, as a normal number. You say the bottom as an ordinal number, except for 2. 2 does, if it was an ordinal number, you'd say 1/2, but we don't. We say 1/2. But once you get past 2, you're using ordinal numbers. So this is 2/3, because it would be 1/3 singular. Since there's 2, it's 2/3. So how would you say that? That's a mixed number, and you would say it as 7 and 2/5. And usually most students can do those, but what about this one? This is 3. What is the plural of half? Well, what's the plural of calf? Plural of calf is calves, right? You have one calf, two calves. So what is that thing? That is 3 halves, and that is how you say it. All right, so we're going to simplify 10/15ths. What's the largest number that divides into both? 5. They end in a 0 and a 5. And so this will simplify to 2/3. Now notice how I wrote that. You are not allowed to do this. 10/15ths divided by 5 does not equal 2/3, right? If you remember your division of, we're going to go over this, you would have to multiply by the reciprocal there. So you're not allowed to write this 5 only one time. Okay, you are going to write it twice. Some teachers might even have you write it as 5/5, one whole. All right, but you are dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor, greatest common divisor. You have to write the 5 twice. No exceptions. So 14/12 simplifies to, they're both even numbers. All even numbers are at least divisible by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 14/12 simplifies to 7/6. 50 125ths. Now, if you see the 0 and a 5 there, definitely 5 is factor. But is there something bigger? Well, it turns out there is 25. 25 times 2 is 50. So 50 divided by 25 is 2. 125 divided by 25 is 5. This simplifies to 2/5. Now, you might say, how was I supposed to know that? Well, you know, if I can send you to the store with quarters in your hand and buy stuff, although, you know, now we're all using Venmo, you should be able to do your 25 times table, right? Because 1 quarter makes 25 cents, 2 quarters makes 50 cents, 3 quarters makes 75 cents, and 4 quarters makes $1 or 100 cents. So 5 quarters here makes $1.25. And notice the pattern there, 25, 50, 75, 00, 25. That pattern goes on forever. 25 times 6 is 150, 50 again. 25 times 7 is 175, 75 again. And 25 times 8 is 00, 200. Okay. You know your 25 times table if you know how to deal with quarters. Now, so here, you might be interested in doing 10, and that's perfectly acceptable. All right, 10 though is not the greatest common divisor, and the reason we know that, by that you can write 1 equal sign if you'd like, right? You get 6/8 here. 6/8 is not simplified. You can go again. So the correct answer for the simplified fraction is 3/4, but what would be the faster way to get there? Well, the largest number that divides into 60/80ths is 20. That gets you there. But either way, as long as you get down to 3/4 and don't stop at 6/8, is fine. So you might think about 4 here. You might think about 2. But let's try 8. 40 divided by 8 is 5. 32 divided by 8 is 4. It simplifies to 5/4. So out of 6, there are 4 shaded. But we're always going to simplify our fraction. So what else is shaded? So what other fraction of this picture is shaded? Well, obviously we can simplify 4/6 to 2/3. So you could say 4/6, 4 out of the 6 are shaded. But notice I made the lines darker here. And you also could say 2 out of the 3, or 2/3, has been shaded. All right, so this has been broken up into 6. So there's 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. So there's 5 little marks, and then the 6th one is 6/6 there. That's how number lines work. And so this is 3 and 4/6, but 3 and 4/6 is exactly the same amount as 3 and 2/3. Right? So if I had to put 3 and 2/3 on a number line, it would go in the exact same location. 30 students were asked their favorite sandwich. According to the table, what fraction liked peanut butter the best? Well, peanut butter got 12 out of 30, and these should add up to 30. You could check that. 14, 20, they do, but there might also be an other that hasn't been included in the table, so that's why I put 30 students there. And so we have 12 30ths, but we're never going to leave our fractions unsimplified. Largest number that divides into 12 and 30, well, 2 works, but I think 6 is there. So 12 divided by 6 is 2, 30 divided by 6, we got 2/5 again. What fraction of the paint shown will be red paint? So it's red to total. We're going to be doing ratios like this all year in 7th grade. It's a major part of 7th grade. So the red is 4, the total is 10, but we're not going to say 4/10. We're going to simplify our fraction. Oh my goodness, it's 2/5 again. So sometimes students get all the way to 7th grade and they don't know this trick. Is 48 divisible by 3? Is 49 divisible by 3? Well, you could sit there and divide, right? And if you did that, you would see 3 goes into 4, remainder 1. 3 goes into 18, 6. So yeah, it goes in 16 times. So the answer is yes. And for 49, if it went into 48, it's not going to go into 49 one more, but let's just show that, right? So you get 6, but then you get 18. You get a remainder, right? We get a remainder of 1. It does not mean it's not divisible. And so, but is there a faster way to tell if a number is divisible by 3, right? You can look at a number and you know if it ends in a 5, it was divisible by 5. If it's or a 0, it's divisible by 5. If it ends in a 0, it's divisible by 10. Is there some sort of trick like that for 3? There is, and this is it. 4 plus 8 equals 12, and this is just a trick. Since 12 is divisible by 3, right? 3 times 4 is 12. So is 48. This always works. 49, 4 plus 9 is 13. 13 is not divisible by 3, and so is 49. 49 is not divisible by 3. So which ones of these are divisible by 3? Well, 24 is, because we hopefully have memorized 3 times 8 is 24, but you can see 2 plus 4 is 6. 38 is not, because that adds up to 11. 11 is not on the 3 times table. 63 is. Yeah, that is divisible by 3. 3, right? You can see that one pretty easily. 3 goes into 6 twice. And then 3 goes in 21 times. 73, no, because that adds up to 10. 10's not on the 3 times table. 249, 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 9 is 15. 15's on the 3 times table. Yeah, 249 is divisible by 3. And you can see 3 times 8 is 24. And then bring down, and that goes in 83 times. So this is a great trick. If you look at the 3 times table, look what happens. 3, 6, 9, 12 adds up to 3. 15 adds up to 6. What's next? 18 adds up to 9. 21 adds up to 3. 24 adds up to 6. 27 adds up to 9. 30 adds up to 3. Yeah, and it goes like that, 3, 6, 9 for a while. Then it starts going up to 12 and 15 and other multiples of 3. All right, so let's practice. How do you write that? So 9/2 is that. So let's simplify both of those. Well, 49 and 84 both are on the 7 times table. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 84 divided by 7 is 12. That simplifies to 7/12. Ooh, 24 51st. Well, I don't know. Well, think about this. I just showed you a trick. 2 plus 4, 6. That's divisible by 3. 51 is divisible by 3. So 24 divided by 3 is 8. 51 divided by 3, 1 is 17. Yeah, so this is 8/17. So knowing that little trick that 5 plus 1 is 6, so it's divisible by 3, was very helpful to simplify that particular fraction. right? There's a double zero and a 75, and right, anytime you see numbers, let's look at the 25 times table. It's 25. What we're gonna, right? It goes 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, 200, 225, 250, 275, 300. That's the way the 25 times table goes. So both of these are divisible by 25. Now 75 divided by 25 is 3. Now that you might sit there and go like this, but I think you can do it in your head, right? Because 100 divided by 25 is 4, right? So what's 1,000 divided by 25? Well, it's 40. And so this simplifies to 3/40. Good luck with your homework.